What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chromecast. This episode is part of a series that we're doing in partnership with Logitech that is all about education and technology in the classroom. As part of this awesome partnership, we're giving away 30 Logitech Chrome packs to one lucky winner to outfit their classroom with the best tools to enhance their students' Chromebook experience. These packs include a headset, a wireless keyboard and mouse, an HD webcam, a Snowball Ice USB microphone, and a Logitech Pen if the winner's classroom has USI Chromebooks. And all of this comes in a kid-approved Herschel backpack. This giveaway is open to all currently employed K-12 school or district level faculty, IT staff, and leadership, and is running for a limited time. So check the link in the show notes if you want to learn more. Okay, now with all of those giveaway details out of the way, on to the guest for this episode. Today I have a conversation with Kevin Ngo, who is the product lead for Works with Chromebook at Google. We have a really fun chat about this certification and this standard and the way that they test products and the brands they're working with in this certification, and how when you go buy a peripheral that is Works with Chromebook, how they make sure that it's going to work and continue to work with your Chromebook. So without any further ado, here's my conversation with Kevin. All right, Kevin, thanks so much for taking the time to join on the Chromecast podcast. This is just, anytime we get to chat with anybody at Google, it's a good day for me. So thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Yeah, it's this was one that we were trying to get scheduled, and you were kind enough on quick notice to join us. So extra special. So I do really appreciate it.
My pleasure, for sure.
So tell us a little bit about what you do at Google and your role in some of the projects you're working on.
Yeah, definitely. So I started on the Pixelbook team actually, and was focused primarily on developing all the accessories and peripherals under the Made for Google program. And the Chrome OS team decided they wanted me to expand that not just for Pixelbook, but for every Chromebook out there. And so that's my job, is to basically create an ecosystem of peripherals that enable meaningful use cases, empowering users to experience Chromebook at its fullest potential. So that's pretty much the mission statement of our Works with Chromebook program. And that's what we live and breathe every day.
Yeah, and so that certification obviously was fully released in, what was it, March 2020, something like that.
Yep, exactly.
That's amazing that I remember that. You can ask the guys. I'm terrible at remembering these dates.
I'm very impressed by that. So
but you said as part of the kind of the Pixelbook team, you all were already kind of thinking about peripherals prior to obviously creating a standard and creating a certification.
Yes.
So that's interesting. Yep. Obviously, the Pixelbook, we were huge fans of, but we've always told folks, the great thing about Chromebooks is a lot of times you can just plug in stuff and a lot of times it'll just work, which is great. But then to have that little extra layer of informing consumers as they're going to look for a product, to have that Works with Chromebook, sticker on there to let them know is kind of that little extra help, especially as people are maybe picking up their first Chromebook and aren't sure. They're like, is this a PC or what is this and how does it work? Can I use it with my printer? Can I whatever?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We call that wayfinding, right? So a customer goes into a store, they get a Chromebook, and it helps them wayfind a bit more easily of what products will they be reassured will work with their Chromebook device when they see the badge of the Works with Chromebook logo on there.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, were you still on kind of like the Pixelbook side of things whenever the Go was getting developed?
Yeah, I actually worked on all the Bellroy stuff that we launched, the backpacks, the sleeves, and all of that.
Yes.
Got to fly to Australia, meet the team. It was amazing, and those guys are such a great bunch. And Andy, who's their CEO, is like one of the most amazing people in the world. I really admire everything he's done and all that he's built.
Yeah. Yeah, we loved all of those accessories and stuff. And in Bellroy, I had been a fan of for a while. Some of their stuff that I had come across online and stuff, just well-made products and stuff. And and the made by Google products have a certain aesthetic, right? Have that certain vibe, and having something like the Bellroy sleeve or whatever to go with it is is really nice. And we've always said like we want more and more, and obviously it's happening now that so many more people are using Chromebooks. Having more and more specific stuff for Chromebooks, right? A sleeve that is an actual Pixelbook Go sleeve or a Pixelbook sleeve or whatever. It's made specifically for that product. And the works with Chromebook stuff is kind of, obviously the peripheral, like the big extension of that now, like where people have can go buy that product and know that it's working with their Chromebook. Early on, Logitech, I know, was kind of one of the pioneer partners for you all. We're so excited about this campaign that we're doing with them and being able to give away these Chrome packs full of works with Chromebook, peripherals from Logitech. But, what was it like early as you all were trying to figure out this standard and figure out a certification? And what was that process like to get to where it is now?
Yeah, for sure. Well, full disclosure, I used to be a product manager at Logitech, so it was very helpful to understand kind of the ins and outs of how the company operates. I launched quite a number of webcams during my time there, and so as we had them as our first partner, or one of our early partners, trying to create an entire ecosystem of peripherals is not an easy thing. Because if you think about the history of Chromebooks and Chrome OS, we're only about 10 years young, right? So the early days of the first Chromebooks was to create this experience of a one-to-one experience of someone physically typing on a laptop. And we did an amazing job of bringing that experience, which is why we've seen such heavy adoption within the education space. Now, as we think about the need for more use cases, which was the mission statement I told you early on, we're trying to drive greater experiences with that. So think about, I just met with Logitech last week and was meeting with their head of input, and he gave me a stat of, if you use a computer mouse, you will be 50% more productive. So as we think about expanding Chromebooks beyond education into consumer, now consumers want to be more productive, so they're going to need a keyboard, a mouse, a webcam, a headset, a printer, a monitor, a docking station, all these things that we actually haven't spent a huge amount of time on. Now we have to figure out how to solve for that. And that's a really big task. And if you think about big problems, Google is amazing at solving big problems. And that's why we're here. So I've broken it down into a multi-phase program of, early on, phase one of the work that we've done with Logitech is we went through their entire portfolio of products across multiple categories to understand what does work well, what doesn't, where are we having issues. And with that, we found a pretty strong subset of products that make up the majority of their sales today. And we've certified them as works with Chromebook. But in doing so, we also taught them what are the nuances that make a product more compatible with Chrome OS. We do have little nuances within Chrome OS itself, like when you are in tablet mode, if we believe that a keyboard is connected, you're not going to get the virtual keyboard. But if a computer mouse presents itself as a keyboard, then you're never going to get the virtual keyboard. So these are the little issues that we're trying to resolve. And as we teach the OEMs, the brands that are in our program, some of these nuances, in addition to some of the standards that maybe they might be doing workarounds of what does it take to truly be works with Chromebook. And as we teach them, then we kind of move on to phase two, which is, well, that's stuff that has already launched and is in the marketplace today. The next phase is, how do we make sure that the stuff that are in development can be works with Chromebook out of box? And that's a big, big deal for us today, ensuring that the peripherals that are in development, when they do come to market, will work with a Chromebook. And we're laying that foundation work very well with Logitech today.
Yeah. So how many like obviously whenever the standard was kind of first announced, I know I remember reading in the blog post there were 10 or so companies that were kind of like the pioneer partners or whatever.
Yep.
If you had to guess, like, I mean, obviously I'm thinking now, as long as somebody has a product that they're able to test and make sure that it works with a Chromebook, I would imagine the list and the number of manufacturers and OEMs out there is going to be growing substantially for you all.
Sure.
Is there any sort of number that you all have, or is there just a ton? I would hope there's a ton.
Yeah, our strategy is not necessarily to go really broad like some of the other programs out there. We're really focused on a smaller subset of partners that we feel we can really make a massive impact within the ecosystem. And we really want to go incredibly deep with those partners. So, I talked about phase 2 of trying to get new products being works with Chromebook out of box. Now, the third phase is how do we bring these special experiences as a partner within Works with Chromebook? So, for example, Fast Pair is coming out. It's already out on Android. It's coming out on Chrome OS. And how can we bring these Fast Pair experiences so that that user experience out of box is just a killer experience from day one? And that's something we definitely want to bring up. In addition, there's the ability to do firmware updates of your peripherals through a methodology called FWUPD, and it's built into Chrome OS. So imagine now future peripherals that you have are going to just automatically get firmware updates directly. Not only is Chrome OS going to update every 4 weeks, but your peripherals will also be running the latest and greatest automatically. So if you compare us against other platforms, it really brings the best of Chrome OS all together for the user so that they continue to have the best experience, the most secure, and the fastest of everything that's running on a Chrome OS ecosystem.
Yeah, and the fast pair stuff is very interesting to us, and we were actually over at a big box store recently and saw the logo on some packaging, and we were like, oh cool, like it's coming, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So what is, like, if for somebody who's listening, and obviously maybe they've read some of our content about Works with Chromebook, and maybe they've seen a sticker or it even printed on a box over at wherever they're buying something. But for somebody that maybe doesn't know all of the ins and outs of it, like, what is the testing? What is the process that you all are going through to verify that these products are going to work with the vast so I guess what I'm getting at is there's so many different processors out there. There's so many different Chromebooks. There's all these different brands and manufacturers. What level are you all testing and making sure that these products are working with Chrome OS, because there is such a wide variety. It's not like a MacBook or whatever where you have a much more closed down ecosystem. So there's so many options of Chromebooks out there. What is the standard doing to test to make sure that when someone buys that peripheral or buys that mouse that it's going to work?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and it's definitely a challenge we've been working hard on solving. So number one, every Chromebook in the world, regardless of which OEM is selling, it's born out of our team. So we create the reference designs for them, and we know that there is the lowest common denominator of reference designs with various nuances. So as long as we can test and ensure that the peripherals work across those reference designs, then theoretically they should work with every single Chromebook in the world. And that's how we go about that. So you think about USB, we know all the variations between different reference designs of USB, or a Bluetooth chipset might have a few more devices because of the differences in the chipsets. And that's how we do all of our testing. So we have a third-party test lab that basically is an extension to our team that does the heavy workload of testing the peripherals, making sure they follow the test plan. There's a lot of coordination going on to ensure that the testing is done accurately, it meets all of our requirements, and therefore, if it does meet the bar, then that's how they get the certification badge.
Okay, Got it. Yeah, that's very cool. If we kind of transition to education now, if there's, a lot of this campaign is obviously geared towards education and educators that are out there trying to figure out how to kind of enhance the Chromebook experience, right? We have so many students and educators out there that are using Chromebooks. That's kind of the core, right? Like we have the Chromebook as the foundation, but what can we do now to kind of expand that and add some extra things to it? And obviously, I mean, this sort of certification, this sort of badge on a product, whenever, an admin is looking to purchase or whatever, or even just an educator's trying to find a good mouse or whatever. What is the process for education, and how have you all kind of looked at education within this certification?
Yeah, so education is a really big deal for us. If you think about the investment the schools are making, they're expecting these peripherals to last for many years to come. And prior to Works with Chromebook, we're running into this problem of we do a Chrome OS release, and for some reason that product that they had purchased, the peripheral, no longer works. And we have no idea because we weren't involved. So with the Works with Chromebook badge, we can help ensure that as Chrome OS continues to do a release every 4 weeks, those products will continue to work. And that's, I think, a reassurance to the schools when they make this investment on the peripherals that they're purchasing, as long as there Works with Chromebook.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you all like, is there any sort of education, or is there any sort of like platforms out there? If there's an educator listening to this and they're obviously like, they can go find, the standard kind of Works with Chromebook stuff that's out there, but do you all have any messaging or anything specific for educators that they might be able to go check out and like learn more about this program and how it might apply to the classroom?
Yeah. So we work directly with the resellers to make sure that they mark the products that are certified to be Works with Chromebook. Clearly, there is continual room for us to enhance that a bit more. But yeah, it's an ever-evolving program. We definitely want to continue to work with anyone who wants to find a Works with Chromebook product to be able to search and figure that out. But it's definitely still a work in progress that we're trying to improve on.
Yeah. Yeah, and like obviously, the badge on the product is there for folks. I guess kind of what I was getting at is if they're just looking at something, online, or if there's a listing on Amazon that they're looking at and it may not say Works with Chromebook, or are you all, as part of the certification, are you all requiring or telling folks to include that in descriptions and stuff for products?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's not required. If they do use the logo, of course, they will have to call it out properly. We have worked pretty closely with various retailers, such as Amazon and Best Buy, to include the badge. And as a way, again, going back to the whole wayfinding process, it really helps our customers make sure that they get a product that they're happy with. That'll just work with their Chromebook once they open the box.
Yeah, because like obviously it's easier in the store when you're standing there with the product in hand. You can see if it has the sticker, but sometimes, online listings may not be as easy to find that. And we've noticed that with certain listings, it'll have right there on one of the main featured images, it'll have the the badge on there with it, which just makes this wayfinding process, as you've described, makes that a lot easier in the digital space too. So let's talk a little bit about an educator who might be listening to this who's like, yeah, I'm in on this. This sounds amazing. I have a classroom full of Chromebooks and I need some peripherals that I know are going to keep working. What is like the kind of starter pack that you all might recommend, or what are maybe some peripherals that an educator might not have thought about, or maybe a way that they could use a peripheral in a unique or creative way that they hadn't have thought of before?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you think about what the new Logitech Pen can do for Chromebooks, it's pretty amazing, right? Like you can do a Jamboard and have kids be able to write with each other and and do math directly on it without having to have this awkwardness of trying to, draw numbers with a mouse. My kids actually do Chinese immersion school, so they're able to write Chinese characters pretty flawlessly using a Chromebook, and I feel like that's a pretty powerful tool there. In terms of other peripherals, for sure, a mouse is, like I said, 50% productivity. You can't beat that. Headsets are hugely beneficial for kids as well, as they do. So much content has moved online since distance learning has taken place. So all these tools and again, driving more use cases for kids is definitely really helpful there.
Yeah, the Logitech Pen, we had one sent over so that we could kind of take a look at it. Is a great design. Like I love the design of it, and you have to imagine, these kids are obviously they're distance learning. They may not be in the classroom where they can get a printout or whatever, but they still need to work on their handwriting skills. So they still need a physical object that they can hold on to comfortably and not lose, and that holds a good battery, and all of these things that educators deal with students and trying to keep up with these sorts of things. And so the Logitech Pen was really cool. We were honestly hoping that maybe there would be something like that would come out to consumers, but it's great that educators have this as a tool for USI Chromebooks. And the thing too that's interesting about the Logitech Pen is this like cross-device compatibility, and obviously having a standard like USI being universal, being able to go from, hey, I'm the teacher, I'm coming over and showing this one student one thing on their Chromebook, but then I'm going to go over here to this other Chromebook and help that student as well. And that cross compatibility,
exactly.
Yeah, is like we've been really excited about USI. We've been obviously tracking. We've had some great chats with the folks over at USI. When this all first started coming, I'm sure this was something that you all obviously were interested in, and we're probably pursuing to make sure that it was all works with Chromebook.
Yep, for sure. I mean, what we want to do is make it extremely easy for our users to pick up a pen and have it work well with USI-enabled Chromebooks.
Yeah. We have been doing more research here lately, trying to figure out all the ins and outs of the 2.0. And the Lenovo Chromebook Duet 3 that just came out is using 2.0 screen with in-cell technology, and so it's only working with some 2.0 pens. We were we were a little bummed out about that, to be honest, but I think like the features that it's adding like down the road, we talked about it on our main kind of weekly roundup podcast this week, but like down the road, once more 2.0 pens are out, that'll just be the pen you should go get. Like, you just go get a 2.0 pen, and it's going to have all these extra features and stuff. It's just, we're in this like middle ground right now. So
technology advances, and we're working closely with all of our partners right now to try to transition as quickly as possible.
Yeah, sure. And it's like, we were talking with Pete Mueller over at USI, and he said like we tried for months. We included it in Robbie included it in his article. They worked for months trying to see if it could be, completely compatible, and just couldn't get it there. But thinking forward, like thinking about the works with Chromebook certification, you've kind of talked about like the core ethos, or like kind of the core mission of what you all are doing. You said you want to find these partners and work very closely with them. Like what's the next phase of this? Like what is the goal? Like what's the plan here for this certification or standard?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're continuing to drive use cases. So as we go from education to consumer and now to enterprise, you've seen more of some of our announcements around contact centers, which require headsets. We're working with some of the biggest brands to make sure that the headsets work seamlessly with the applications that are used in these contact centers. So again, we're enabling our business to continue to expand with more use cases through peripherals. But really, where we want to get to in terms of works with Chromebook is to just make sure every peripheral in the world at one point will just work. And through that, it's requiring us to, again, this is a really big problem to solve, but working closely with our OEMs, with their manufacturers, and to really help the industry follow closer to industry standards. Docking stations have been quite a big challenge because oftentimes the dock makers will do slight workarounds to overcome some of the bugs they might be experiencing with a certain platform. And through that, they break the industry standard, and we adhere to the standards quite strictly. So we're again continuing to work closely with all the industry leaders to make sure that they follow standards as closely as possible. And by doing so, will help us ensure that we've got a good number of products in the world that will be Chrome OS compatible always.
Yeah, and it's like if we can stick to that standard, then you just have this wide swath of kind of products that will work. Yeah, the docks are always something that we're testing and trying, and sometimes it'll be just like little stuff, just like certain little stutters here and there because the HDMI isn't at this proper refresh or hertz or whatever, and it'll give some issues there. We've had a lot of luck with the OWC Travel Dock E. They're like second gen, I guess they're calling it like the second gen, and then the E because it has the Ethernet port on it. I've actually got one right here on the desk. We've had a lot of luck with that, but yeah, like the thing is too, like we've talked a lot about education is getting a Chromebook in the hands of so many students, right? That are then going to college, and what platform are they using? They're using Chrome OS, so they're going to go get a nicer Chromebook, and it's awesome that we have these kind of nicer Chromebooks now. Or they go out and get a job, and in that job they're able to do everything on a Chromebook. Well, then if that kind of becomes their native operating system, their operating system of choice, we then need to have as many options or peripherals for them to create their desk setup or their use case that they need, and just having more and more options over time, and you all working hard to make sure that if this product is labeled with this WWC on there, that it's going to work with the Chromebook. And I love the fact that you were talking about like the updates, right? Because that's we love Chrome OS because of that, because of it's ever evolving and updating, that is unlike it's unlike any other operating system out there. But then to be able to update your peripherals at the same time, that is incredible. Maybe the guys have heard about this, but I hadn't really heard about that. So that's something that is wild to me. What was this? Yeah. What was like the back end? What was like the abbreviation that you said for that?
FWUPD.
Okay. The other guys probably know. I'm not as plugged in as they are on some of the techie side of things. So
it's been a tremendous amount of work to scale this at the level that we're doing right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I can only imagine trying to figure out the back end of that. That's amazing. We have had that experience though of before there were Chrome OS layout keyboards. We always talk about the K580 and the M355 mouse from Logitech. Recommend those a lot. But prior to that, we were just using Windows Logitech keyboards, and there would be an update, and it was like, oh man, something's broken, or we're trying to figure out this, and hey, my mouse randomly just stopped working or whatever. And it's still, like you said, it's still 10 years young, so constantly still evolving and still figuring it out. So Kevin, hey, that's all that I had. If there's anything else you want to throw in, by all means, throw it in here. But this has been great. That this is such a cool certification and such a useful thing for consumers and for educators who are trying to create a more enhanced experience with Chromebooks.
Sure. Joe, I am a huge fan of Chrome Unboxed, and like I said before we started, I don't comment a lot, but I read everything and I watch all your videos. So for sure, a big fan. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, thank you. It's always an honor to chat with folks that are working on cool stuff, and especially when they're a fan of our content. So thank you. Seriously, thank you very much for that. And hopefully we can catch up again soon.
For sure.
All right. Thanks,
Have
Kevin.
a good one. For sure.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Joe here. One last thing before you head out. If you haven't already, make sure to go down there and give us a thumbs up. Click subscribe right next to that and the notification bell icon if you'd like to be alerted when we put out future interview episodes like this or episodes of our weekly roundup that we do. But that's it for this one. We'll see you all in the next one.